Hello and welcome along to episode 76 of the All Things Leeds podcast. I'm NkGhTg and joining me remotely, as always, is Charles Foster. Charles, hello.
Hi mate, how you doing?
I'm very well. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I mean, we were supposed to record this yesterday, weren't we? Up until your untimely illness.
Yeah, until I became sick after eating a Chinese takeaway. Yeah, be careful what you eat out there. Yeah, it's not been a pleasant night or day for me, to be honest. But no, we are here recording. So yeah, this is why the podcast is a bit later than usual this week because technical difficulties, and also I've been a bit ill as well. So
Biological difficulties as well.
Apologies for that. But we are here and we've got plenty to discuss in the show. We'll, of course, be looking back on Leeds United's 1-0 win at Sheffield United from the weekend. We'll look at how the Leeds United under-23s and women's teams have got on this week. We've got loads of news and transfer news to go over as well in this show. Leeds have been linked with a fair few players this week. We'll get onto all that in the show. And then finally, we will preview Leeds United's next game, which sees them take on Manchester City at Elland Road on Saturday. Loads coming up here on the All Things Leeds podcast. Well, let's start by recapping Leeds United's 1-0 win over Sheffield United away at Bramall Lane from last Saturday. They left it late, but got all 3 points in the end. It's our first away win of the season in what was the first Yorkshire derby in the Premier League for 19 years. Charles, to say that this game almost finished 0-0, it was a pretty good game, wasn't it?
It was certainly entertaining. It had a lot of very much a back and forth. Not in the kind of way that the Liverpool Leeds game was kind of a proper game for the neutrals. It wasn't like a goal fest, but there was plenty of chances and plenty of good football played. It was just about both teams kind of biding the time and trying to probe for the weaknesses. Of course, we eventually did make the breakthrough towards the end, but there was a lot of chances throughout the game that where you felt it was very even. You felt the game could have definitely gone either way. It was one of them few games where you think that every single result would have been fair. Them winning would have been fair. A draw would have been fair, and us winning not unreasonable. So
yeah,
I can understand why Chris Wilder was whinging in his post match, but I don't care. I'm pleased with the 3 points.
Very good. It was a very even game. It was a very entertaining game. Could have gone either way. As you say, Sheffield United had their chances, Leeds had their chances, but lucky for us, Leeds ended up getting the win. Left it late, as I say, 88 minutes. The goal came on Jack Harrison on the left, crossing the ball into Patrick Bamford, who headed home. That's now 3 goals in 3 Premier League games for Patrick Bamford this season. He became the first player in Leeds United's history to score in their first 3 top flight games for the club. Bamford is a man on fire, and he's a man on a mission as well.
Yeah, he's got that. He does tend to do this, Bamford. He has these like bursts of form, particularly when we sign new players. When we signed NkGhTg, when we signed John Kevin Augustine, and when he came back from injury, to replace Roof, he has these like bursts of form when he feels like his players might be under pressure. Obviously, we signed Rodrigo to kind of rival him for the number 9 spot, and he's making a serious case to stay in the team. I mean, you play your informed players, and at the moment, Patrick Bamford is probably our most informed player. Him and Jack Harrison, who obviously linked up for this goal, have probably been our best players all season. So I say all season, only 3 games in, but the season so far, they've been our best players. Yeah. And this goal was an absolute peach. I mean, for me, the cross was far better than the header. I don't know how everyone else felt about it. The cross was a beauty.
Yeah,
and it kind of just hit him square in the face, and he wrong-footed Ramsdale. But yeah, he's having a fantastic season so far at Bamford, and I'm pleased to see it. I know obviously we've been critical of him in the past on the podcast, but if players don't perform, we're going to be critical of them, and if they do perform, then we're going to praise them. That's just the way it is. It's not the case of being fickle. It's not the case of having a dead set opinion on someone. It's your opinion on a player depends on their current form.
Yeah.
at the time. At the time, Patrick Bamford's on fire. So long may it continue. I hope he's, he claimed this one came off his nose. I hope his nose is coming off his arse cheek, his kneecap, or his shins. However they're going to go in, I'm pleased with him at the moment. So yeah, good for him.
Yeah, certainly. And as you mentioned, the cross from Jack Harrison was very good. And Harrison knew it himself. He was celebrating the goal before the ball even hit the back of the net, was Jack Harrison and Luke Ayling as well. But yeah, Bamford, with the goal here, 3 goals in 3 games, very good. Hopefully Bamford does keep up the good form. But yeah, as we've said, the game could have gone either way. I was really surprised that it was 0-0 so late on, because both teams had chances, particularly Sheffield United in the first half with Launstrom and Baldock, being denied what should have been certain goals by a certain 20-year-old French goalkeeper in Ilham Meslier. Meslier with some, a few incredible saves this game. He was unbelievable in this game, wasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, the John Lundstrom chance was probably his best save of the game, and it's probably the best save of his career so far, if he's been honest with himself. Luke Ayling kind of won the ball and was running upfield and made a poor pass which towards Stuart Dallas, which has got intercepted, and Sheffield United have worked their way down our right, down their left, and crossed it in, and McGoldrick's dummied it basically and left Lundstrom, unmarked about 11, 12 yards out in the box. All he has to do is put it to the side of Meslier. So it was a decent. People saying, "Oh, he hit it straight at him." He did not hit it straight at him. It was a decent effort. It wasn't right in the corner. It was a decent effort by Lundstrom, but a superb save from Meslier to put it around the post. And obviously that one from Baldock where he palmed it over the bar after getting slightly wrong-footed, because I think he thought the shot was going towards the far post, but good strong left hand. So yeah, he had a fantastic game, did Meslier, and he deserved his first clean sheet of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. He was outstanding. Was Meslier, really, really good in this game. I got the man of the match from BT Sport, and of course televised the game. He won the man of the match poll on Twitter that I put out after the game as well, getting 80% of the vote. So yeah, very good was Meslier. Hopefully, he can keep it up. As you mentioned, the first clean sheet of the season for him, albeit against a team who still haven't scored a Premier League goal this season. The only team who haven't scored a Premier League goal this season. But no, it was fantastic. It was Meslier in this game. And I've said it before on the podcast. I think Meslier in a few years, to see, how good he is now at 20 years old, I think in a few years he will be France #1 and one of the best goalkeepers in the world. I really do think that, 20 years old, he's so good at the moment. Yeah, I think he's going to be phenomenal in a couple of years. So yeah, really good signing as well. £5 million. How many Premier League teams, Charles, are starting goalkeepers who cost £5 million and they're 20 years old as well? There's not many. So yeah, he's doing well.
I think he's by a significant distance. I think it's is it 7 years? I think Martinez for Villa is the next youngest keeper. Starting keeper every week. I think he's 27 or 28. I think so. Meslier is 20? He's younger than me and you. and he's starting every week for Leeds United in the Premier League. So for goalkeepers who generally kind of hit their peak towards very late 20s or early 30s, for him to be, starting in a Premier League side at 20 years old, it does kind of. If he keeps up his current form, then he may end up being a France international in the future, which will be, brilliant. I know he's been called up for the under-21s again. So good luck to him. Yeah, I'm very pleased to see him doing so well.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Meslier can improve in some areas. I felt as though positionally at set pieces it was a bit, bit shaky, but overall he got a clean sheet. It was really good. Was Meslier, of course, helped by a rock solid defense. Robin Koch in particular, probably his best performance so far.
I mean, yeah, but the Liverpool game wasn't a great performance from him, and in general, although he did grow into it towards the second half. The Fulham game obviously gives away that daft penalty, which I didn't think it was a penalty, but you did, and it did get given. So, but he did play fairly well in that game as well. But this, it seems to be improving with every game, and now he's got his regular centre half partner next to him in Cooper. I hope they can become quite a solid outfit.
Yeah,
Whether or not we
certainly.
see Llorente at any point, it will be interesting to see.
Yeah, were you surprised to not see Llorente involved at all on a Sunday? You know, because Bielsa, you know, I know they said that he wasn't planning on going to the back three, but were you surprised to not even see Llorente on the bench?
Not really, because you know what Bielsa's like. He likes people up to speed and knowing the style of play before he gives them a spot on the bench, and so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I do expect to see him involved. I don't think he'd want to travel over from Real Sociedad and to not even make our bench in the Premier League.
Yeah.
He will expect to be involved at some point.
Yeah, but it's certainly going to take a lot of work for him, though, isn't it, to get in the lineup if Bielsa remains with the back four. You know, if Bielsa goes with the back three, then yeah, Juventus straight in there. But if Bielsa continues with the back four, you know, the two centre backs, Liam Cooper and Robin Coy, you know, it's going to take a lot of work for Juventus to get in there, isn't it?
It certainly will, because Bielsa views Cooper and Streak as his two left-sided centre halves, and Llorente and Koch as his two right-sided centre halves. So whether or not he can knock Koch out the starting 11 will remains to be seen. I think it'll be, knowing Bielsa, it will be down to an extremely massive drop off in form from Koch, or an injury will allow Llorente in, because we know how consistent Bielsa is with his starting 11s. If everyone's fit, then the team does not change, as we know.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see, Koch versus Llorente, really, because they're both fighting for that one spot in the back four, really, aren't they? And it's good and healthy competition, which, you know, is what we've needed in defence for a long time, really. So yeah, I'm glad Juventus come in, and yeah, it's going to take a lot of work for him to get in, but it's going to be interesting, you know, because Koch. Do you think Koch had a really good game because Juventus has come in? Do you think, you know, now that he's got competition day, he's thinking, all right, I need to play well now. So do you think that kind of helped?
No, I don't know. Possibly it might have had a small impact, but I think it's mainly down to him adjusting to the Premier League and his teammates and becoming more, you know, more used to the system that we play, and, you know, more familiar with his role in the team. I think that probably comes down to it more. I think we did kind of chuck him in the deep very much in the deep end at Anfield. But we had to do. We didn't have a choice. It wasn't
exactly.
Spite or maliciousness. So we needed him in the team. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see him adjust and become even better, because I think he has the potential to be better. He's not a young centre half, but he's certainly not, you know, at his peak yet. I think he's 24, 25 is Robin Koch.
24,
he's got plenty of time to 24. So he's got plenty of time to improve. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he can do.
Yeah, certainly. We mentioned Liam Cooper there. Of course, he made his 200th appearance for Leeds United on Sunday. He's come a long way, hasn't he, since making his debut in 2014, Liam Cooper. 200 appearances now. It's unreal.
Premier League Liam. If he'd have said to the lad playing for Chesterfield that he would be one day captaining a team in the Premier League, he'd have probably laughed in your face.
I mean, 2 years ago, if you had told me that Liam Cooper was captaining our side in the Premier League, I'd have laughed at you as well. But, you know, Bielsa's turned his career right around, and yeah, here he is, Captain Cooper in the Premier League. Insane.
It's you just, a lot of things can change in football in a very short period of time, and the amount of improvement that he's made has been fantastic, really. And I thought he had a decent game against Sheffield United as well.
Yeah.
Now that he's back in the starting 11 properly, because obviously he missed the Liverpool game through injury, and he had a bit of a questionable game against Fulham, because we did give away a couple of soft goals kind of down the left-hand side, with him and Stuart Dallas not having great games defensively. But this was a far more robust performance from the defence, and the kind of performance defensively that I want to see week in, week out, because we can't concede the amount of goals we did in the first couple of games and stay up. It's just not feasible. We'll end up like Norwich. So we need to be solid, and But Rajazani mentioned a lot about borrowing from Sheffield United's kind of plan and their not playing philosophy as much, but their kind of principles of sticking to the team that got you promoted and making small changes and adapting slowly and staying in the league and making progress. And I think if we're going to do that, then we have to keep players like Liam Cooper in the team.
Yeah, certainly. And very good game. Liam Cooper had all the defence at the weekend had a really good game. Stuart Dallas in particular, I thought was excellent. I'd say he was at left back, but he kind of wasn't at left back. He was all over the place, really. If you've seen Stuart Dallas's heat map from the weekend, it was literally all over the place. He cropped up on the right a few times. Of course, he had that very good chance in the second half where he had an open goal to aim at and probably should have scored that, really, a stronger shot. And it's going in, but he just hit it a bit weak, and Basham was able to get back and clear it. Stuart Dallas probably should have scored that chance, but no, Stuart Dallas all over the place, and he was really, really good in this game, wasn't he? Was Stuart Dallas?
Yeah, when I think Bielsa changed the formation, I think we started in the 4-1-4-1, but then, as we know, Bielsa likes the extra man in defence, so I think we swapped to the 3-1-3-3. I think we, the kind of loose 3-1-3-3.
I think so. Sometimes I don't really know what formation we're playing, because sometimes Bielsa just sticks like 5 men on one side of a pitch and goes, "All right, just play." It's hard to sometimes figure out what Bielsa's doing.
Yeah, well, I think Stuart Dallas got put in midfield with Mateusz Klich to try and assist him and Calvin Phillips in the centre. So I think he got kind of drafted out of left back into midfield. That's why he was all over the place. And I don't know. I'd recommend anybody who, I don't normally recommend watching Match of the Day 2 because I think it's just vastly inferior to the main programme, to be honest. But what if you watch the coverage of the Leeds Sheffield United game? Watch the analysis. I can't remember the pundit's name now. Watch the analysis they do on Stuart Dallas in that game, because it's really good, and it's worth a watch. If you've not watched it, it's just explaining how much Stuart Dallas was just everywhere, connecting passes, doing the job defensively. Getting in to have a shot cleared off the line. He had that little toe poke at one point, didn't he, which Ramsdale pounded away from the top corner. So he was absolutely everywhere, and he did a fantastic job, really. It was his versatility coming up really clutch in that game. His ability to just play anywhere. So
it's great, isn't it? It's great, isn't it, to have a player like Stuart Dallas who just can play anywhere you put him. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fantastic, because if you have players that can't adapt or can't change or can only play in one particular way, you're not going to be anywhere near as useful to a manager like Bielsa, who every player has to be fluid. The way Bielsa sees it, every centre half should be able to play in defensive midfield. Every defensive midfielder should be able to play centre half. Every full back has to be able to do the things that wingers can do. Patrick Bamford is responsible for clearing crosses into the box from when we're up under the caution and at corners as well. Bamford is often the man at the front post to clear corners as well, and chase people halfway down the pitch while we're pressing. So every player has to be adaptable to be able to do every part of the game, because if you're not adaptable, then Bielsa tends to not play. So Stuart Dallas is probably the perfect Bielsa player in the team. You have to say.
Yeah, 100%.
So it was a really good performance from him.
Yeah, and really good to see Stuart Dallas put in a good performance, because we were quite critical of Stuart Dallas last week, from his performance against Fulham and against Liverpool, really. So yeah, good to see Dallas have a good game here, and all the defence, really. It's just nice to see a clean sheet for once, and not another 7-goal thriller. If both teams were clinical, it would have been another 7-goal thriller, really. But it's nice to keep a clean sheet. Yeah, so some other talking points from the game. We do need to mention Tyler Roberts, really, who of course started in place of the injured Pablo Hernandez, and Roberts didn't really have a good game. Was replaced at half-time by Rodrigo, and Rodrigo I thought was really, really good in the second half. Rodrigo did, of course, get subbed off late on for Alioski, but nothing too serious, nothing injury-wise. It's just what Bielsa does. We've seen it plenty of times. Bielsa subbing off substitutes. So yeah, nothing to look look into
I
too
love, I love,
much.
I love the tactic in the last 5 minutes of the game. It's when we're kind of grinding out a result and calming things down, is to bring on a lunatic like Alioski to run around attacking
Yeah.
midfield. It's because that's always where he plays. That's always where we stick him. His job is just to run around and harass people until the full-time whistle goes. So yeah, like a one-man army.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting tactic from Bielsa, that. But yeah, I think you're right. Rodrigo did have a good performance. A lot of nice touches, a lot of good link up with Bamford, and involved with the goal, of course. Obviously, Click runs it upfield, slips it into Rodrigo. Rodrigo spots Harrison in a lot of space, and sets Harrison up to make the cross. So he's very heavily involved in the goal. And I thought, yeah, he did a great performance, and I think it's likely that Rodrigo will start against Man City.
I mean, it's Tyler Roberts, though. He really didn't have a great game, did he? He was a bit of a passenger in that first half, really. Tried a few things, but just couldn't. It just didn't really work out for Tyler Roberts. He's not really a number 10, is he? Is Tyler Roberts?
He's a striker, really. I don't think he can play in the number 10 position. He's getting crowded out quite a lot, and he couldn't really find much space or much creativity, because despite everyone going on about Sheffield United being a good team, they are a very defensive team. They have that. They play the 3-5-2, and they stack the mid. They push the centre halves forward, and they basically stack the midfield with 8 players who just sit there and block all avenues of passing. And so yeah, Roberts couldn't find any space or run through them all, and couldn't really get any purchase on the ball. And it seemed to be that he spent a lot of time quite close to Patrick Bamford, but not really linking up with him particularly well. So I can understand why Bielsa made the substitution in the at halftime.
Yeah, I do feel for Tyler Roberts, because I do like Tyler Roberts. I think he's a very good player. But yeah, he just don't really, do too well at number 10. But when he plays at number 9, he's always scoring goals. He cast your mind back to that Hull City away game from last season. Came on as a substitute, scored 2 goals while playing at number 9. Yeah, he's a fantastic striker. He's just, at number 10, he just gets crowded out. So, yeah, I do feel for Tyler Roberts. And I do feel that this game did really highlight the fact that, we do need a number 10, because although Rodrigo played well, it did really highlight for me that we really do need an attacking midfielder, a proper attacking midfielder.
Yeah, I agree with you. We'll go on to talk about how that might be a problem in a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I do think we need another central midfielder, particularly an aggressive one that can do the job in midfield and help out. Not only create chances with Costa and Harrison and Bamford, but also do a bit of the dirty other side of the game with Click and Calvin Phillips. So I think we do need a bit of a more solid presence there.
Yeah, basically someone who can do whatever Pablo Hernandez does. Because, although Pablo is a very good player, and it'd be great to see him start, he is 35 years old. We can't rely on him anymore. We do really need a replacement for Pablo, really. And, we did miss Pablo in this game. We did miss that, just that cutting edge, just, that one pass to cut open the defence. So, yeah, we really do need a midfielder just to do what Pablo Hernandez does when he's not there. But, looking at positives, it was a very good game. I thought Ian Poveda, when he came on, he was excellent. For a 20-year-old, he's filled with so much confidence as Ian Poveda. I thought it was really, really good when he came on. And yeah, a 1-0 win for Leeds. Consecutive clean sheets and maximum points at Bramall Lane for the first time since 1974. Insane. And yeah, that 3 points did move Leeds United into the top 6 momentarily. But we are now sitting in 7th place in the Premier League table on 6 points. And, Charles, I know we're only 3 games in, but this was a huge, huge 3 points, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I think these are the kind of, people always say this with games like this, and sometimes it can come across a bit, arrogant or sneering, but we do need to be winning these types of games, because as we were saying in the preview last week, we expect Sheffield United to be around us, kind of mid-table, lower mid-table, with their second season syndrome that's kicking in nicely. Unable to score any goals so far, that's true. But they've just signed Ryan Brewster, so that might change. But yeah, this game, the Villa game, that we will have coming up. Both games against Villa got coming up. The games against Fulham, West Brom, these all need to be victories, really, because for every game like that, we're going to have, the games against Scum, the game at the weekend against Man City, which is basically I don't want to say a write-off, but it's going to, because as we put against Liverpool, we can compete, but we didn't get any points against Liverpool, and it could very well be the same this weekend. I hope it is. We keep a bit more solid and hopefully nick something, given their Man City's defensive issues. But those kind of games against the top six are, difficult to get points in. So
I mean, those are the free hits, you could say, really.
Yeah, those are the free, and the games against Sheffield United are not free hits. They're the games you need to win if you want to stay in the division.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the reality is, as a newly promoted side, our goal is to stay up in the division, and the teams around us are going to be, your Fulham, Sheffield United, and Aston Villas, and those are, must-win games, I'd say. So, it's good that we're picking up points in these games, and 3 points here, 2 wins in a row, absolutely brilliant. Hopefully, we can continue that form, but. Leeds United's next game is, of course, against Manchester City on Saturday at Elland Road. It's going to be a very tough game. But Charles and I will preview that game later on in the show. The Leeds United 23s picked up their first win of the PL2 season on Monday afternoon by beating Sunderland 3-1 away from home. 18-year-old striker Sam Greenwood with an absolute masterclass in this game, grabbing a hat-trick with 3 terrific goals, including a sensational free kick. And Greenwood carried on his fantastic goal-scoring form in the following game, scoring the only goal in a 1-0 win over Middlesbrough at Thorpe Arch on Friday. 5 goals for him in 3 PL2 games. Looks like we've got a very, very good striker on our hands, Charles.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Arsenal fans weren't particularly pleased when they sold him, and you can kind of see why. He's a very talented player. Seems to be fairly two-footed as well. So he's from Sunderland, so imagine scoring against the likes of Middlesbrough and against Sunderland, where he's from. Must be quite the experience. But he's really seems to be like a good talent. And obviously the game on Friday, we're also recording this on Friday evening. I think Joe Geldark was injured today and had to go off, and so he will be pretty much the under-23's main man from now on. And if he's to continue with his current play and his goal scoring form, you got to say he's due a chance in the first, in the first team at some point.
Yeah, can you see him making the first team soon?
I can see him making a first team appearance this season if he's to continue the form he's in, because I think it'll be difficult to kind of keep him out of the team if he's consistently scoring at the rate and with the ability that he is doing at the moment. I think if we get around to the FA Cup, obviously much later in the season in January, it might be worth giving him a bit of a run in the FA Cup side.
Yeah, certainly. I think, if Greenwood keeps on scoring in the U23s, you're going to have to include him in the first team squad at some point. He is playing very, very well. I watched both U23s games this week, and he was outstanding, making some very good runs, very smart runs, good finishes, and he looks to be a very, very good striker. I'm excited to see what Greenwood can do. And, I'm just in awe of how good the U23s actually are. I was impressed with, Cresswell, Charlie Cresswell. He's fantastic. Bogusz as well, I think is great. Drama as well. And Joe Geldark, as you mentioned, he is unfortunately out injured now. But, we've got a very good team in the U23s. Very, very, very exciting team to watch, really. But 2 wins for the Leeds United under-23s this week. Fantastic stuff there from Mark Jackson's side. Hopefully they can continue that good form. And the Leeds United women as well picked up a victory this week. They won 1-0 against Durham at Thorpe Arch last Sunday. 2 goals in 2 games for new signing Laura Bartup. Great stuff there. Hopefully Dan O'Hearn's side can build on that and keep picking up results. The Leeds United women take on Chester at home in their next game at 2 p.m. this Sunday. Well, it's been a funny old week with regards to transfers at Leeds United. On Monday, Leeds began to be heavily linked with a move for 21-year-old Bayern Munich midfielder Mikel Cuisance. Bayern Munich had given the French midfielder permission to leave this summer, and loads of journalists, the likes of Phil Hay, Fabrizio Romano, and Sky Sports were pretty much saying that the deal had already been done. A fee of around 18 to 20 million pound had been agreed, a contract was signed and everything, and it was pretty much imminent. But on Thursday night, the deal collapsed. David Ornstein and Phil Hay of The Athletic and many other journalists reported that Cuisance failed his medical. Other reports say that the deal just couldn't be agreed between the two clubs, particularly with the buyback clause. But I think that the fact that the Bayern Munich chairman said goodbye to Cuisance on his Instagram kind of suggests that that probably isn't the case, and it probably was a failed medical. But what definitely, is the case is that the deal is off. Cuisance will not be a Leeds United player. Charles, are you disappointed by this?
I was a little bit disappointed by this because I think there's not much time left in the permanent transfer window, and I mean, I can't. I'm not going to lie. I didn't know anything about him up until we were linked with him and allegedly interested in him. I mean, obviously not allegedly, we were interested in him. So I didn't know too much about him, but he seemed like a good player. He's 21, plays for Bayern Munich, and they've just won the Champions League. From what bits I have seen him, I know he hasn't had much game time the last couple of years, but I think he was Mönchengladbach's Player of the Year a couple of years ago as well before he signed for Bayern. So he's kind of got a little bit of pedigree about him, and I was actually looking forward to getting the last player through the door, and then kind of signing that off as a good window. But obviously now we've got 4 days to we're recording this on a Friday. Got 4 days after this to sign a permanent player. So I'm a little bit concerned. I'm not. To be honest, I'm more concerned with us not having a player through the door than I am disappointed with him not having signed. If you know what I mean.
I agree. I certainly know what you mean, and I agree with you as well. I didn't really I hadn't really heard of Cuisance before we were linked with him either. And Cuisance, he moved to Bayern Munich last season, the start of last season, only made 10 appearances for the first team and scored 1 goal. Very good goal though, albeit a very good left-footed strike and a 4-0 win away at Wolfsburg. But he's not massively experienced, but as you say, he was part of a Bayern Munich team that won the Champions League. So, he must have something about him, really. And he is very highly rated. It looks to be a very, very good prospect as Cuisance. And, it would have been nice to see him through the door. But I must admit, for an £80 million signing, I probably would have preferred to go, with someone a bit more experienced, someone who knows what they're doing rather than someone who could be good in a few years, if you know what I mean. So, I agree with you. I'm not too disappointed with the fact that that we're not going to get Cuisance, but I am a bit concerned that we don't have someone through the door. Because we do need an attacking midfielder. We do need another midfielder through the door, and the transfer window closes on October the 5th. So Leeds United need to hurry up, really. So it's going to be interesting, isn't it? These next few days, because we do need to get a hurry on, don't we?
I think Victor Orta's going to be spending a lot of time in Manchester Airport over the next few days. So good luck to him. Getting everything sorted.
I must say, I mean, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, Cuisance, but it sounds like croissants. And the thought of Bielsa going to Victor Orta, go and get some croissants, and Victor Orta mishearing him and hopping on the plane to Munich to go sign croissants is quite an amusing thought to me. So just wanted to share that.
I've got the Square Ball nicknaming him Mickey Croissants really made me laugh.
Mickey Croissants, but Mikel Cuisance will not be coming to Leeds United, and Leeds United need to look for alternatives. And just 3 or 4 days left. Fans have been mentioning Rodrigo de Paul again, but that transfer is still gone quiet. There's still nothing else new on that. And as we mentioned last week, we can't really see that deal happening now.
Is he going to be is Rodrigo de Paul going to be the new Gary Hooper or Kyle Lafferty, where we're just linked with him for years on end, but we never sign him?
Vidra. I mean, who do Leeds go for now? Who do Leeds go for now for you? What player is out there, do you think, that we should go for?
Um, this is a difficult one because attacking midfielders, very good attacking midfielders, you don't normally get them Premier League standard ones anyway. You don't normally get them for £20 million.
No.
They come along very rarely. So if it was up to me, what I would do, I would go and give the money to Udinese. I would just go and sign DePaul, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think they've stated that they're willing to sign for a certain price. We need somebody through the door. I think we're just going to have to put up a shut up. Really, we really have to sign somebody in. We keep getting continually linked with Todd Cantwell and Dan James, and I'm not inspired by either of those players, to be honest. It's not 2019. We're not signing Dan James, and Todd Cantwell is quite the. Doesn't seem like that prolific. His stats aren't great, and I can't see when you see what he's been like for Norwich with his, I hate to be, go all Roy Keane on this, but his ridiculous celebrations when he has scored, his fortnight dances, I can't see that fitting in well at the culture at Leeds with the fans or the players.
No.
So, I'm not entirely. But that aside, I'm joking. I'm mostly joking there, but I'm not entirely inspired by his ability either. He's not an exciting player. He's not Cameron. I don't think he's going to excite. There's a reason he got relegated with Norwich, really, and so yeah, the players who have been linked to currently aren't totally inspiring, but you never know. There could be someone who's been kept successfully under wraps because obviously Quissons was kept fairly under wraps until the last few days or so. So it could be there could be somebody else that we're not aware of right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you never know. We could sign a player tonight. Even you just never know with Leeds. They do seem to be keeping the cards very close to the chest this transfer window. But
it would be just our luck to record a podcast and them to sign a player after we finish recording.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree with you. I'd bite the bullet and just give Udinese what they want for DePaul. I just want an experienced attacking midfielder, really. Just someone through the door. Yeah, it would have been nice to get Crescents, but I do want somebody who's very experienced, who knows what they're doing, just through the door, and they can help us really, and spark the team into life a bit, really. Just one more signing needed, really, in my opinion, and that is an attacking midfielder. As we mentioned, the window shuts on Monday, the 5th of October. Yeah, Leeds need to get a wiggle on, really. As you mentioned there, Leeds have been linked with Todd Cantwell, the 22-year-old midfielder from Norwich City. Journalist Peter O'Rourke and many other reports have said that Leeds have submitted a £15 million bid for Cantwell. And Cantwell was left out of Norwich City's matchday squad against Bournemouth on Sunday. It's very interesting there. Apparently, Cantwell, does want the Premier League, the move back to the Premier League, and who doesn't? Now, Phil Hay has said that some people have been playing the link down, but the link is there nonetheless. And Cantwell, I do think he is a good player. I do think he is a good player. Of course, he does tend to play on the wing, really. Now, last season, Cantwell made 37 Premier League appearances for Norwich, scored 6 goals and got 2 assists. This season he's played 2 games in the Championship. Now, Charles, I was going to ask you, is this signing you'd like to see happen? But you kind of answered that already.
Yeah, I'm not. No, I don't want to see this happen. I'm not inspired by it.
Yeah. I mean, Cantwell's also been linked with Fulham as well. So, yeah, I think that's probably unlikely to happen, but it definitely could still happen. But it's one to keep an eye on, really. Another one to keep an eye on is Leeds being linked with a 22-year-old Manchester United winger, Dan James. Manchester United are close to bringing in another winger, and if they do, then James would be able to leave. Dan James to Leeds. Would you like to see that happen, or are you not too bothered?
I think they're going to probably ask us for anywhere between 20 and 25 mil, and I think that's too much for what.
Yeah.
I don't think he's worth that. I think it would be a waste of money on our part to spend that on a player like him, who hasn't really lit up the Premier League. I know he's been in a terrible club and a terrible team for his time in the Premier League, but even still, he's actually lit the league up. He's been a bit inconsistent for them, and I think he'd probably be inconsistent for us as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't complain if he came to Leeds, but yeah, honestly, I just want the attacking midfielder. Just a midfielder I want. That's literally it. Just one more guy through the door, a midfielder. And that'd be business done for me. And yeah, a winger would just be a bonus. But yeah, for me, definitely a midfielder is needed. But yeah, a few transfers there to keep an eye on. We have seen a player depart Leeds this week. 21-year-old defender Bryce Susanna has joined League Two side Bradford City on a season-long loan deal. Again, it's great to see the club sending out these promising youngsters out on loan to get some first-team minutes. Good luck to Hosanna on his loan. In other news, Leeds United revealed their brand new third kit for the season on a Wednesday. It went on sale at 8 a.m. on a Thursday. It's a maroon kit with some, gold trims. The badges is all gold as well. It's quite nice, really. A pretty unusual design though on the front. It looks, a bit like bricks. I don't really know what it is. But yeah, Leeds say it's a rewind to the 1970-71 season, 50 years ago. A kit which was indeed red, though this kit is not red, so I don't really know why they're making that link, really. But yeah, the kit, I think it's fair to say, it has split opinion amongst Leeds United fans. Certainly not one for the traditionalists, but now I don't really care too much about this, really. It's not the best kit in the world, but it's not the worst kit in the world. Charles, what are your thoughts on the third kit?
I'm not hugely fond of it, and I think that the loose link to the 70-71 season is just to kind of keep traditionalists happy, as you say.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to buy it. But if anyone's listening to this, if you want to buy it and you like the look of it, buy it, because it makes the club money. And if it's going to make money for the club, I'm not bothered. It's a third kit. It's probably going to get worn about 5 times this season, if that. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, I think with third kits, you can experiment, really. I think, in my opinion, third kits are just to sell and make the club revenue, really. And yeah, we as you mentioned, we'll only see the third kit a handful of times, probably against the likes of Spurs, West Brom, Brighton, Newcastle, and Fulham, and maybe Chelsea and Everton, though we have played in white against Chelsea and Everton in the past. But yeah, we'll only see it a handful of times. I mean, how often did we see the Sky Blue kit last season? About 3-4 times last season, if that. So yeah, we'll only see this third kit a handful of times. And yeah, as you say, Charles, if you do like the kit, go get it. There's been a lot of people who say, "Oh, it's red." If you buy it, you're not a proper Leeds United fan. No, you are, because the kit, one, is not red, and two, is fairly nice. So yeah, if you want it, go get it. Support the club. But yeah, I personally won't be buying it. But no, it is. It's a kit. It's a kit. It's a kit, really. Yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, Leeds United third kit is now out. So yeah, if you are interested in it, yeah, you can go buy it. It is on sale right now. Moving on, it is the international break next week, and we've had a whole host of Leeds United players be called up to their national teams. Liam Cooper has been named in the Scotland squad for their upcoming games against Israel, Slovakia, and Czech Republic. Stuart McKinstry has been named in Bill Stark's Scotland under-19 squad for their upcoming friendlies with England. Calvin Phillips has had another call up to Gareth Southgate's England squad for their games against Wales, Belgium, and Denmark. Mateusz Klich has been named in Poland squad to face Finland, Italy, and Bosnia. Diego Llorente and Rodrigo have been named in Spain squad for their games against Portugal, Switzerland, and Ukraine. Academy trio Charlie Cresswell, Joe Gelhardt, and Sam Greenwood have been named in the England under-19 squad. 24-year-old defender Robin Koch has been named in Germany's side to face Turkey, Ukraine, and Switzerland. Meslier, as you mentioned earlier, has been called up to the France youth team. And finally, Stuart Dallas has been called up to Northern Ireland's squad for their crucial Nations League games this month against Bosnia, Austria, and Norway. Yeah, boy, that's a lot of players called up to the national teams, and yeah, it's great to see, isn't it, Charles?
it is, but I'm a little bit concerned about the amount of players we're having go out on international duty, given Liam Cooper went out last time and got injured immediately. So I'm a little bit worried about it. But as long as they all come back in decent condition and they're all right to still play, then I'm not too fussed.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. There is, of course, that scare that they could get injured on international duty. So hopefully they don't. But yeah, it's great to see so many international players in the squad now. And yeah, good luck to all the players representing their national teams this month. And finally, Leeds United have had two of their upcoming fixtures changed for TV purposes. The game at home to Wolverhampton Wanderers has been moved to Monday, the 19th of October, with a kickoff time of 8 p.m. And that's the first game back from the international break. And Leeds United's clash with Leicester City at Elland Road will now take place on Monday, the 2nd of November, and will also kick off at 8 p.m. So yeah, that's already 5 of the minimum 10 TV games guaranteed in the Premier League. Leeds United, complete box office, it seems, this season, Charles.
It's looking good. We're clearly an attractive product for people to watch, which we always knew while we were making the EFL, millions in revenue while they gave us peanuts in return. So it's nice to actually be paid properly, because I think we get £1 million a game that we're on TV in the Premier League. So it's it's great. It's great stuff.
Well, let's now look ahead to Leeds United's next game, which is against Manchester City at Elland Road this Saturday. It's a 5:30 p.m. kickoff live on Sky Sports. Pep Guardiola versus Marcelo Bielsa. Charles, this should be a fascinating game.
I'm sure that will dominate the media headlines. But yeah, I do think it'll be a good game tactically as well. Guardiola's got a lot of respect for Bielsa, and Bielsa's certainly got a lot of respect for Guardiola. And I saw Bielsa's press conference basically taking no credit for any of Guardiola's achievements whatsoever, which is typical Bielsa, really. I just hope we can make it, the same with the Liverpool game. We can make it a really entertaining game to watch, and I think it can be if we go out and play the right way, which I'm sure we will. So yes. Similar to the Liverpool game, I think it's going to be, we're going to have a lot of freedom. There's going to be limited expectation. We're just going to go out there and see what we can do.
Yeah, I mean, it should be a very, very good game. Bielsa versus Guardiola. Two very good managers, two very good footballing sides. Leeds will play how they always play. And yeah, the game. What kind of game are you expecting? Are you expecting an open game? Are you expecting plenty of goals?
Both those things, yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of chances. I think it's going to be very open. I think there's going to be a lot of goals. I actually think we'll score as well. I'm actually pretty confident we'll score.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to a nerve-wracking game. I just hope we keep as solid as we can and try and make it as difficult for them as possible. But that's there is a trade-off to pressing as high as we do, and we will. We might get caught by the pace of some of their forwards. So, but as we're probably going to go on to mention in a second, there they've got a few injuries which may assist us in trying to beat them.
Yeah. I mean, Manchester City, they've had a mixed start to the season, really. They beat Wolves away 3-1 on the opening in their opening league game, but then lost 5-2 at home to Leicester last weekend. They did beat Burnley 3-0 in the EFL Cup away from home in the previous game, and they did make a few changes in that game as well. But yeah, the big thing is at the moment is that Manchester City have quite a few injuries at the moment. Aguero and Gabriel Jesus being the main players out at the moment. They've got pretty much no striker really. They're playing Raheem Sterling up front as the number 9. So yeah, that could play in our favour really. And I think the game against Leicester showed that Manchester City can concede and they can make mistakes. They conceded 3 penalties in that game. So yeah, I mean, I'm quietly confident heading into this. Are you quietly confident heading into this? I mean, what kind of City do you think we'll see? And do you think Leeds will be able to pull off a win?
I think we have the ability to, especially given the nature of some of their injuries. But I think it's a big ask. I think so. We'll see. We'll see. It's really another them games where I'm going to go into it with zero expectation, and then while I'm watching it, I'm going to get annoyed if we play a bad pass or don't finish off a movement. But whereas realistically, I should be just like, this is what I've wanted for the majority of my life, is to see us playing these type of games, and we're probably going to lose some of them. So I think for me, it's going to be the case of keeping perspective. I hope we can go out there and do our thing.
Yeah. And if Leeds do want the win, they will have to do it without a 23-year-old winger Jack Harrison, who is not allowed to play against his parent club Manchester City in the league. He is of course on loan for the season from Manchester City. That's why we saw Jack Harrison play in the U23s on Friday against Middlesbrough. And the reason for the loan, some people are still confused about why we've only got him on loan again this season. The clause in his previous contract expired due to the delay because of the coronavirus. So, the clause in his contract for us to buy him expired. But the fact that he's on loan has suited Leeds a bit more, considering the expenditure this summer, really. And the option is there to buy him permanently for £10 million next summer. So that is a very good deal, really, for Jack Harrison. I'd say £10 million. Jack Harrison cannot play this weekend. So, I think Bielsa's already said in his press conference this week that ALAW will play there. But are you happy with ALAW playing? Would you like to see someone else play? Maybe Somerville or Poveda play there? Would you prefer to see someone else?
I think I'd have preferred to have seen Poveda play, just because obviously we signed him permanently from Man City, so he knows a lot of people there. He'll have something to prove. I think it would be a good game for him to play in, but I can understand why Bielsa would want to go with someone slightly more experienced like ALAW. And I think ALAW is I think Poveda is a bit more lightweight than ALAW. I think ALAW is a bit better defensively, so that might be in Bielsa's mind as well.
Yeah, and it'd be great to see ALAW against Kyle Walker. What a battle that'll be. There's going to be so many good battles, isn't there? Mateusz Klich against De Bruyne, of course, former teammates at Wolfsburg. You got Calvin Phillips, against Manchester City midfield. Bamford against, who is it, John Stones or Otamendi or whatever defender plays there. There's going to be some interesting battles this weekend. What about the rest of the lineup for you, though? So, we're expecting ALAW to play on the wing for Jack Harrison. But what about the rest of the lineup? Do you think we'll see Llorente play? Will we also change formation? Will Rodrigo play in number 10? What are we expecting?
I think it will be 4-1-4-1 because I think City still play with one striker, so that's the way it's going to be. I think Rodrigo will probably start, but I think the rest of the team will be the same.
Yeah, I'm expecting.
Other than Harrison with ALAW, but the rest of the team will be the same. Yeah,
I reckon it'll be mostly the same. Just Rodrigo at number 10 and ALAW out wide. I do agree with you. I think it would have been nice to see Ian Poveda play, but someone a bit more experienced in ALAW. But it should be a very interesting game on Saturday. It should be a very entertaining game. What's your score prediction for Saturday?
I'm going to go for 3-2 City. I think they're going to lose. And I don't like predicting us to lose, but they are a very good team. So.
Yeah, they are a very good team. It's annoying because, if we do lose, we've won 2 games in a row. It'd be nice to build on that, especially heading into the international break. It would have been nice just to have another easy game where we could get the 3 points. But it is going to be very difficult. But, last season, Norwich City beat Manchester City 3-1 at home. So, or 3-2 at home, rather. So, you know what? I'm going to go 3-2 to Leeds United. I'm going to do it. I reckon we could get the 3 points there.
I hope you're right, mate. I hope I look back on this podcast and I look like an absolute mug because we've won the game. Yeah. I genuinely hope that's true.
Yeah, I will point out I got the prediction right for the Sheffield United game. I predicted 1-0 and we won 1-0. So it's certainly going to be an entertaining game this weekend, and hopefully Leeds United can pick up something at the weekend. Well, that brings us to the end of episode 76 of the All Things Leeds podcast. Thank you very much, as always, to Charles for joining me.
Thanks for having me on, mate.
Yeah, thank you for joining me, as always, mate. I do appreciate it. And thank you as well to everyone who has listened or watched. We really do appreciate it. Make sure to follow or subscribe to the podcast. Give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts if you are listening on there. Share the podcast around as well. It really does help us out, and we very much do appreciate the support. Follow All Things Leeds on social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Search for All Things Leeds 1 on Twitter and Instagram. Search for All Things Leeds on Facebook, and subscribe to the All Things Leeds YouTube channel as well if you have not already. Charles and I will be back next week. So for now, take care, stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.